Alright, so this is my White Forest Azamina deck profile. This is the deck I've been playing, and I will probably be playing for the Orlando YCS. I have played this over the weekend at two locals, going 4-0 in the first one on Saturday, and then 5-0 in the one today. I think the deck's pretty solid. This is just pure White Forest Azamina. I don't have the Fiendsmith stuff. If I had the Fiendsmith stuff, I would probably be playing it. I think it's really solid. But I really like the deck as is without the Fiendsmith stuff. If I had time to pick up the Fiendsmith stuff for the YCS, I would definitely be playing it. But I'll go ahead and get into the profile. So I have three of the LZ of the White Forest, best starter in the deck by far. Searches for everything, and it can send to special itself, all one effect. Some people forget about that, then they try to interact with it after the fact. They'll try like impermanent on board and be like, no, that's not how that works. It can, and then they'll have to imperm something else in the combo. And then I have three Sylvia of the White Forest. Also, your second best starter in the deck because this gets your search for your spell and by itself is a one card combo. And then LZ Azamina of the White Forest. I do believe this card should have already been out with the Azamina stuff in the first place, but it is your bridge from the White Forest to Azamina. I did use its fusion effect today to summon Saint, and its other effects when it's synchro summoned, it's just insane. It bridges to the Snake Eyes engine, which is so good. And then for the last two White Forest cards, we play the one of Estelar and the one of Rusia. Estelar is probably the one you don't want to start with, but it will get you to combo if you do start with it. And Rusia is that follow up you need for if like Estelar gets negated, or you start with Elzet and Rusia is full combo as well. They're just solid cards. I like the White Forest cards a lot. I was playing White Forest Runic before this, but this pure Azamina is just so insane. And then for the spell traps, we have Tails, Sinful Spoils of the White Forest, the new fusion spell. Card's kind of nuts. Fusion summon on your opponent's board. Woes, a lot of people are cutting Woes. I'm still on Woes. I think the card's absolutely insane. Who are just playing into like Mulcharmies, playing into Shifter if your opponent goes first. It helps you play low to the ground and still be able to interact with your opponent. It helps you not give them like three draws. I gave my opponent one draw. They were trying to unbrick their hand with the Mulcharmy. I gave them one draw, it didn't unbrick their hand, and I still was able to book a Moon Raziel twice. Or at least once, I think. And then interact with the fusion spell as well. Because these two are just the interaction you get to do on your opponent's turn if you have to go low to the ground. And then they added Azamina card, the new trap. A lot of people are cutting Woes for this. I think this card's really good. I didn't know it counted the graveyard as well, but if you're under Shifter, you don't have a graveyard. And then if you're under Mulcharmy, your board's kind of mid, so you're only gonna get like maybe 1 to 2 bounces. And if you do give them 2 bounces, you're giving them two draws. But that's my whole White Forest package for the deck with spells and trap, or spells and monsters, traps. But then we'll move on to the Central Spoils engine, which is 3 Wanted, 1 Witch, 2 Deception. You can cut the second Deception for anything you would want to cut it for, more hand traps. There's some other stuff you could probably cut down, but I think 2 Deception is fine. Opening is fine. I normally side one out for going second to side in more hand traps or more board breakers. It's an easy target to side out. And then the one Hollowed Azamina. There's some cool combos you can do. With you open like Hollowed and Deception plus LZ, the new one, you can try to bait in a gate with Hollowed. And then if they negate it, activate Deception, pitch Azamina, add Azamina, Hollowed, shuffle back Azamina to add Hollowed back and then Hollowed again. It's an interesting little plays you can do. There's a lot of stuff you can figure out if you play the deck. It's super solid little engine. I'm glad they finally bridged the two engines together. I'm playing this engine. You don't have to. This would be what you would cut for the Fiendsmith engine. I still love the engine. It's triple toy box, 1 tank, 1 soldier. I think one of the most powerful opens in this version of the deck, the pure, is open toy box plus witch, or toy box plus wanted, because it's just going to get you full combo. It's going to let you search Sylvie. It's super solid. I know a lot of people are cutting this. I just like it a lot. It helps me just get through combos. It helps me make Chaos Angel because I'll make Chaos Angel with Crucilago and this or this. But I like the engine. I think you should still be playing the engine if you don't have the pieces stuff. And then for hand traps, I'm playing a low count of hand trap because I consider this to be a combo deck where I need more gas to play through my opponent's hand traps. I'm playing 3 Ash, 3 Nib, 3 Imperm. I think these are just strong cards in general. Uh, Ash on the Link 1 for Fiendsmith is pretty good, and then Nib against Malice and Pure Raziel is pretty good. But Imperm's also just really strong for just Imperm Designator on turn 2. And then for power spells, I'm playing Triple Thrust. Thrust is really good because if you do get hand trapped earlier on in your combo, you can then use Thrust to set the White Forest spell traps, and then you get to send them off of your White Forest monsters to then reset them. And then you could use like Tails after that because it's treated as a new card that came back from the graveyard. And then 2 Thrusts, or Talents. Talents is just pretty self-explanatory. Look at your opponent's hand if you still have combo, draw into more combo, take a monster per game. I took a Nib a few times to just go for game. And then 3 Super Poly. Super Poly is kind of insane. It helps me dodge a bunch of things. Like usually you can Super Poly off the Designator. You can Super Poly off one of the Malice Link monsters. And since you have turn player priority to activate quick effects, you can quick effect into Super Poly to Super Poly off their banish one Malice monster. It also helps you get rid of like the Nightmare Griffin, so you can still play. And then we got Called By and the Azurin statue for the bunny and the extra deck. That is it for the main deck. Like I said, you can play more hand traps, but you just have to find what you feel comfortable cutting. I like this build a lot. I think it's super strong. Like I said, I went 9-0 the last 2 tournaments, basically. And this will be what I'm taking to the YCS. But let's move on to the extra deck. We got the 3 White Forest extra deck monsters. These are just super strong monsters altogether. This one you're summoning in your combo to search, and you can chain block either LZ the Azamina, or you can chain block this with the Azamina, depending on what you need. Because they could try to hold Ash for something more impactful, if they do, or even Dominus. But the Double Book of Moon is kind of insane for this other card, and the attack gains has mattered to beat over things. And then the Queen just adds back cards you discard. Add back Woes, add back the Fusion spell, because you can send the Fusion spell off a hollowed. You don't get to reset it, but if you already resets it, you get to then add it back to use it again, like on your opponent's turn. And then we'll move on to the Azamina fusions that you're playing. You're playing Rezialago, Sylvie, Mao, and Saints. This one you're using on your combo all the time. It searches and bridges, so it's just super strong. It helps you search for more combo pieces. And then this one you're making at the end of your combo. I normally use this to make a Chaos Angel because it is a level 6 dark, so you use any of your level 4 lights to make Chaos Angel. And then Sylvie is just a strong card for Omni-Negate. I don't summon these guys very often. I summoned this one today to beat into Access Code Talker, so in time, because battle phase time was called, swinging to Access Code 53 to my opponent. Because I couldn't beat over the 5300 Access Code and the 5200 White Forest card. And then this guy, he's a little awkward, but he's still a 3k body, and you can trigger him on your turn off of your Azamina cards that you activate, like Hollowed. That is it for the Azamina engine. These are some more generic cards, like Guardian Chimera. I think this card's super solid. Use the White Forest Fusion spell to summon on your opponent's board to get pops and draws. You can also chain the White Forest Azamina card in response to one of your opponent's cards to dodge them, like Imperm, to summon Guardian Chimera. It's super strong. And then our super poly target is Teresa. This card is insane. I was able to dodge a set Imperm today with just normal summon Sylvie. They go to Imperm. I fuse off their Link monster with super poly. It's also your bridge if you only open up the Azamina engine, because it is your level 4 tuner for Azamina LZ. So then you can full combo. Then you have your generic Synchros, which is Sapper Shrimp and Chaos Angel. Sapper Shrimp is super cuttable. I have not summoned this in 2 days. I don't think I've summoned this last week either when I played the deck. I'm normally making Chaos Angel my main combo, but if you think the banish off Chaos Angel is good enough, play it, summon it, and then get the banish, but I don't think it's that good. I'd rather be summoning Sylvie for the Book of Moon. And then for my generic Link monsters, IP, SP, Rabbit, Cross Sheep. You could cut Rabbit. It's a strong card, but it is the most cuttable card in here, besides Zapper Shrimp at this point. And if I was cutting Zapper Shrimp, I would probably play another super poly target, being the Agnister card, to help you fuse off the Malice boards more effectively and not have to use your own. My issue is I always have to use my own for this, but it hasn't really impeded me much so far because it's also just getting rid of my opponent's good monsters like Nightmare Griffin against Malice and then Designator against Raziel. My side deck that's helped out quite a bit. I think the side deck's pretty solid. I have some choices most people probably wouldn't make, but triple evenly match. This card is insane into Raziel and Malice. Banish their stuff face down is always better than not, or just destroying them, because they can't recycle their traps if you banish them face down. The benefit to that is then you don't have to deal with the traps, and Chaos Angel is just a good card, because that's their out to Chaos Angel, is mainly their trap. It's super insane. I've loved this card so much today. Opening it with Imperm today against Raziel was just funny because you go evenly match and then Imperm the Raziel, the Designator or Detonator. And then Triple Droll comes in against Raziel. Doesn't really come in against Malice too much, which Lancia comes in against Malice. And Dark Ruler comes in against decks that you can't deal with. The off-meta decks that just make a bunch of negates, or even Malice to negate their stuff. Get rid of Nightmare Griffin. Then Lightning Storm. I can't deal with Cross very effectively for Raziel, so I'll Lightning Storm, get rid of the back row, because they could have an Imperm, they have Cross. Those are issues. Since my super poly target is like only one removal, I have to then get rid of the card that helps them still negate my guys. And then the one D-Barrier. D-Barrier is just strong. Call Fusion against Fusion decks. Call XYZ against XC decks. And then call Synchro against Synchro decks. You just win. And then you could use your other type, which is you could just use Fusions, or you can use your Synchros if you call it Fusions. I think this deck's really strong. I'm going to play it for the event over the weekend. I'll let you guys know how I do. If you want to see some combo videos for it, to learn the simple combos and then the more tough combos to figure out, just let me know. But that's it for me.